What's up, y'all? I got me a salad. I'm about to eat. I'm so freaking hungry. My stomach's growling like crazy. But I wanted to come on here and talk to y'all about something. So recently, my husband called his cousin, just to talk and, see how he's been, because they haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. And they usually keep in touch very frequently, but they haven't spoken in a couple of weeks. So my husband called him and he was saying, he's been busy, he's been working and stuff like that. And my husband's been busy and he's been working. And so, they was talking about that for a little bit. So then he was telling my husband how he's, him and a few of his friends are going on a boys' cruise. Well, not a boys' cruise, but a boys' trip. So my husband's like, oh, that sounds nice. Like, where is it? Where are we going? I mean, where y'all going and this, that, and the third. So he was saying to my husband, wow, would you want to go? So my husband was like, yeah, sure, why not? Now, ladies, if you're on here, and gentlemen, I have no problem with my husband going on boys' cruise or whatever, because I just went on a girls' cruise in July. Me, my sisters, and my cousins, we had a fabulous time. It was an 8-day cruise. I did a video on it. It's on YouTube. Check it out. Now, we had fun. I mean, this was the first time we ever went on a cruise together. We want to do it annually, you know what I'm saying? And my husband had no problems with it. The whole time we was gone. Actually, he was really excited for me, because we, me and my sister and my cousin, we don't usually do these things. So he was really excited, like, oh man, y'all gonna have a good time, da 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 da. And we did. While I was gone, him and my son hung out together. They're into motorcycles. They're in a motorcycle club and stuff. So while I was gone, him and my son hung out for the whole 8 days. So he spoke to his cousin and they said they was going on a boys' cruise. So I don't have a problem with that, y'all. I trust my husband completely. We've been together since we was teenagers and stuff like that. Never had an issue in our relationship or in our marriage as far as cheating or anything like that. Never, ever, ever. So he's talking to his cousin, and his cousin's telling him how it's going to be, where they're going, da da da. So my husband was like, yeah, I want to go. It sounds good. Sounds nice. Sounds like we're going to have a good time. Now, after all of that, then his cousin says to him, yeah, if you're going, don't tell your wife. Did y'all hear that? If you're going to go, don't tell your wife. So my husband says to him, why not? So he goes, nigga, just do what I say. Don't tell your wife. If you going, don't say nothing to her about the trip. Da 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 da. So my husband said to him, well, what's the secrecy about? So he was like, don't worry about that. You going or not? He said, well, yeah, I want to go, but I don't want to keep nothing from my wife. So he was like, nigga, listen, if you going, just don't say nothing to your wife. Don't tell, none of the men are telling their wives or their girlfriends about the trip. We're just going, da da da. So my husband comes in the room and he says to me, babe, blah, 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 blah is going on a trip, a boys' trip, him and some friends of his from work. And, they're going, they're telling me how much fun they're going to have, what they're going to be doing, blah, blah, blah. And then he says something crazy to me. And I said, what did he say? If you're going to go, don't tell your wife. So I was like, don't tell your wife. Like, why wouldn't you tell me? Like, what's the problem? He was like, that's what I want to know. Why wouldn't I tell you where I was going? So my whole thing is this. I've been with my husband since we were teenagers, 15 and 16 years old, right? We have 4 children, 5 grandchildren. We practically grew up together, basically. His cousin knows this. His cousin knows that I don't cheat. He don't cheat. We've never had that in our relationship since we've been together. We don't hide anything from each other. And he knows this. So the fact that you would tell my husband that if he goes, he cannot mention it to me makes me feel that there's going to be some stuff going on this trip that he knows would cause problems in our marriage. But if that's the case, then why even tell him to come? What he should have said to him was, man, you know that you are and Tawana are this way and that way, this, that, and the third. I don't think this is the trip for you because we're going to be doing this, we're going to be doing that, and there might be some stuff going on, some extracurricular activities going on that you might not be in favor of. But for you to sit here and tell him, don't tell me, first of all, that's a red flag right there. Because anytime you're telling somebody, don't tell your wife, means that there would be something going on that your wife would not approve of. That would more than likely cause problems in their relationship if she found out that you went and some stuff went on and you never told her. So my husband came and he told me about it. So I said to him, once again, he's a grown man. He could do what he wants. But I said to him, so what are you going to do? He said, oh, I'm not going. He said, because it sounded sketchy. And I asked him, well, why can't I tell my wife? When he didn't give me an answer and said, well, if you're going to go, just listen to what I'm saying. Don't tell your wife. He said, I already knew right there I wasn't going. So I said, so why didn't you say anything then? He said, I was just in shock at the fact that he didn't want me to tell you. He said, but I'm going to call him tomorrow and I'm going to tell him I'm not going and I'm going to explain to him why. So I said, well, you don't have to explain to him why. Just tell him you're not going. He said, no, I'm explaining to him because I want to get this straight with him that I don't appreciate him telling me to hide anything from my wife when he already knows how we are in our relationship. And the fact that he would insist that if I'm going, don't tell you. He could have just told me, this ain't the trip for you, bruh. This ain't the trip for you because this is what's going to be going on. So don't, we'll catch you on the next trip when it's a couple's trip or something like that. But this ain't the trip for you, because the fact that they're not telling any of their women or their wives or whatever already lets me know that it's going to be something scandalous going on this trip. But I was not going to tell my husband, you're not going. I wanted him to make that decision for himself because he's a grown man. He knows right from wrong. He knows what would be a problem in our relationship and what wouldn't. And he's not willing to risk going somewhere and having stuff found out down the line. Oh, this is what happened on the trip. And this is what happened on the trip. Now, mind you, my husband is not the type of man that cheats. And I know a lot of you people out there probably thinking, oh, you don't know because all men are the same. All men are not the same, just like all women are not the same because I don't believe in cheating. I really don't. I've never cheated on my husband and I don't plan on it. And there are some men that were raised with those same values. They don't want to cheat. They don't believe in cheating. If they found the right woman that they're happy with, then that's all they need. They don't need to be running from here to there, to there to be satisfied. He's happy at home, and I make sure of that. Believe me when I tell you, I make sure he has no reason to go anywhere else. But even if I wasn't with him, this is who he is. You know what I'm saying? It's not because he's with me, he don't cheat. This is just the way he is. When his mother was alive, God bless her soul, when his mother was alive, she sat me down. And this is maybe about a year after me and him was dating. And she said to me, there's one thing I never had to worry about my son. And I was like, what? And she was like, I never had to worry about coming home to a bunch of different women in my house. He's always had one girlfriend at a time. Like, he dated girls. If it didn't work out, they broke up. And then he'd meet somebody else and then he'd be with that person. But he's never had more than one girlfriend at a time. And that made me feel good because she, first of all, she didn't even have to tell me that. But I think she just wanted me to know what type of man that I was getting. And I think she also wanted to make sure that I was going to be the right woman for her son. So she wanted to let me know what her son was about, his values and stuff like that. And I appreciated that because I was brought up the same way. So it really bothered me, that his cousin said that to him, and I'm close with his cousin. So, you know, it really bothered. I just want to know, what do y'all think? Like, do y'all think there was some scandalous stuff going on to the reason why he didn't want my husband to tell me that, that they were going? And then another thing, and that, honestly, it should have been the first thing. But my thing is, how did he expect my husband to go on a trip and not tell me? Like, I'm supposed to just not realize that my husband's not in the bed next to me? I'm supposed to not wonder why I haven't seen my husband in like 8 days? I'm not supposed to wonder why it is that I'm not cooking dinner for me and my husband, just myself. I'm supposed to not realize that my husband's presence is not anywhere in my apartment. Like, how was he supposed to go on a trip with them and I not know? Like, make that make sense. Like, we're a married couple. We do not take trips like that away from each other. Me going on the girls' trip was my first time ever going on a trip without my husband. And he's never been on a trip without me. So I don't understand how he thought this was going to work with my husband. Was he supposed to tell me that he had to do overtime at his job and just never come back home? Like, I'm trying to figure out, how was he going to manage going on a trip, an all boys trip, for 8 days or longer, and I not know that he's not in the house? Like, make that make sense. Like, what was he supposed to say to me about why he's not coming home every night, or why I haven't seen him in 8 days? How was he planning on my husband maneuvering this? He would have had to be a hell of a magician or go back in time or stop time until he got back off this trip and then started time up again. Like, how was he supposed to manage getting away from me for 8 days without me realizing that he was gone? Like, make that make sense. And now, on top of him going on this trip, he's not supposed to tell me. And I'm supposed to be okay with that. So I'm supposed to, don't get me wrong. He's a grown man. I can't make him stay home. I can't, demand, you're not going. First of all, I wouldn't do that. But my thing is, what type of relationship do he think we have to where we're lying to each other, we're being sneaky, we're doing stuff underhandedly? Like, he knows us and he knows how we are. So it really bothered me that he did this. But my husband said, I'm just going to speak to him. And not only am I going to tell him I'm not going, but I'm going to explain to him why I'm not going. I don't like the underhanded stuff. And if you knew that this was going to be something that my wife wouldn't approve of, or something that I couldn't tell my wife, then you automatically should have known that I wasn't going. It just bothers me because, we've never had anybody in my family or his say to me or to him, don't tell your wife or don't tell your husband. We're going here. We're going to do this, but don't say this to him. Don't tell him. First of all, we're not doing that because we don't hide stuff from each other. I wouldn't dare hide the fact that I was going anywhere from my husband, and he's not going to do it with me, So he's not missing out on anything going on, not going on this boys trip, because in February, me and him are going on a 12-day cruise, and it's already booked. Everything's paid for and everything. We're just waiting for the date. We're going to be on a cruise for Valentine's Day, and we'll be on the cruise for our anniversary, which is 3 days after Valentine's Day. So he's not missing out on anything. And he honestly, it doesn't, he said that it would have been nice if they could have went without the scandal or all the crap that, I guess which would be going on if they all went. He said it would have been nice for him and his cousins to hang out and, stuff like that. He said, but I'm not doing anything that's going to cause a problem when I get home. I'm not doing it. And I don't need to be around a bunch of, men that are single and they're doing these things. He said, because if this is what they're going to be doing, then I don't need to be there, because I'm a married man. I don't need to be around a bunch of single men living their best life, because my life is already spoken for. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciated that he said that and that he feel this way and stuff like that. I'm just a little upset, that his cousin wanted him to lie to me and wanted him to keep something from me, But anyway, y'all, that's all I have to say. I just wanted to know what y'all think, and, comment down below. Tell me what y'all think about this whole situation. Would you be mad? Would you feel away? Do you think it was something slick gonna be going on? And that's why he didn't want my husband to tell me. Comment below, like, comment, subscribe, hit the post notification bell so you always know when I have a video dropping. Share with your friends and stuff like that. And till I see y'all again, till I speak to y'all again, be blessed, stay blessed, y'all. Peace.